Okay guys, get ready because I'm about to get fired up. I have been wanting to talk on all of these things for ages now. Oh my gosh, and I've just been waiting and watching and waiting and like about to burst, and I keep venting to my parents and going through all of these things to parents and like a few of my close friends, and I'm finally like, you know what, it has to go to YouTube. So we're about to dive into how every single part of the system is flawed, and it's keeping you trapped not only in a mindset that is limited and stuck, but in a life that isn't beneficial or desirable to you. This system is set up for the people who are in control to continue to keep control. It's not set up for the betterment of all of the masses and all of the people around the world. So I'm going to dive into a few different components and try not to make this video an hour long, and then I'm going to start diving into this way more in the future because there's so much I want to talk about on all of these things, as well as different matters going on right now. This part does not even talk about the COVID stuff or everything going on with Black Lives Matter, but I am going to get to that in a future video because these things need to be talked about. Until then, let's dive in and get started. Okay, so we are literally brought up being taught that a certain way is the way we're supposed to live, and that this is the cycle. This is how it is, this is how it works, and we're just supposed to go along with it and be compliant. So I have drawn up this little circle of the interconnectedness of how these things play out and how they continue to keep us trapped. So I'm going to break these down one by one, and bear with me, it's probably going to be all over the place because I haven't planned this whatsoever other than just drawing this up. So, school and worker mentality. The school system is flawed. Okay, not only are we taught things from a textbook from years and years ago, and we're never taught to question who wrote those textbooks.
I read about it in a book.
Why do we just believe everything that's in a book? It blows my mind. Just because something is written in a book doesn't mean that it's right. There is proof that there are so many things that have been cut out of our education system. The stories have been twisted to put a certain power in favor, to convey a certain message, to share a certain side of the story, and brainwash us to think that that's true. And because we're children, because we're little, and because we look up to authority and assume that the authority knows best, we just take it all as truth. We believe every single bit of it. And the thing is that even those teachers aren't necessarily preaching the wrong thing knowingly. They're just doing what they've been taught and what they've read in their books, and they think that that's right because it's in a book. This is the cycle. Just because something has been taught for years and years doesn't mean that it's actually right. And the thing about school in general is that it's set up to create us into workers, not into the bosses and CEOs. We are taught to follow a schedule. We're taught to listen to the authority, to sit down when the buzzer goes, to stand up for the anthem. Like, we are taught very regimented structure. We get a break when they want us to. We have to focus and do everything else when they want us to. Kids who don't fit into that pattern are often looked at as the troublemaker kids, when in fact they're just more free-spirited, or maybe they're not interested in what they're learning. And the whole system is based around getting people to just follow the structure, be like sheep, work through the motions, and at the end you feel the pressure to go to university or college to get a degree, because the only way you can succeed in life is if you have that fucking paper that says that you went to university or college. And this is a problem. There are a million ways you can succeed. There are a million ways you can make a difference in the world. You do not have to have the highest level of university education in order to be enough. But we live in a society that puts all of its focus and all of its emphasis on that as the outcome. On top of that, we're taught to be workers so that we can go work for someone else and follow a similar structure, follow a similar schedule. And again, when you're someone who kind of breaks out of that, or feels like, you know, I don't want to listen to someone else, I don't want to have a boss, I want to be my own boss, then you have this fear of standing out, and like this fear of, am I going to be different? Am I going to be judged? It's not safe for me to do something other than the normal thing. And so you end up staying stuck in an unfulfilled cycle in life that isn't very enjoyable. But it's what is right, it's what you're supposed to do because this is what everyone else is doing, so you should do it too. No. Okay, and what happens when you do that, when you have this fear of standing out? Majority of the time, it leads to like things like anxiety, depression. I don't know why I said it that way, depression. Lack of purpose, this unfulfillment, this literal Groundhog Day and going through the motions. I don't really want to keep writing. Going through the motions. You're stuck in a cycle that you do not like. Now, here's the thing. A lot of my clients have come to me with anxiety and with depression actually, and with this really strong sense of like, I'm not good enough because I don't know what I'm here to do in my life. I don't feel like I have purpose, like I have meaning. And we're taught that like our worth lies in what we do. That's why conversations are always like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm a doctor, or I'm so-and-so, I'm this. And you tie your worth and your sense of value into what you do for a career. Scratch that. You're a lot more than what you do for a career. That's just a label and a box that you don't really need to fit into. And something that has bothered me since I was really little, I'm getting fired up about it. Let me know if you get fired up about this too in the comments below. But there are way more important conversations we could be having with people than, what do you do for a living? What's your job? Like, we could be talking about so many incredible things instead of having these surface level conversations as if that's the only thing that matters. So much more matters. Now, when I'm talking with clients about their anxiety or their depression, their lack of purpose, so often it is tied into the fact that they're living lives that are out of alignment with what they truly want to do. They're living a life for their parents. They're living a life for what they think is expected of them. They're going to school to get a degree that they don't even want to like work with later. They're going and working for a family business that they don't want to be involved in. They have these big passions, but the passions are different, and so they're afraid it's going to be wrong or they're going to be judged. That anxiety and depression is there because you're not honoring your soul. You're not doing what's right for you. I was so depressed for a while when I came back from a year of travel. I was studying, I was doing all these amazing things. I was working with elephants. I did some work on my own business, my first business, which was an eco-friendly paper company. I was working on that. I was so passionate. I was like loving what I was doing every day. I went back and started traveling again for 6 months and did more studying, did more training. I was in India and like studying at the base of the Himalayas with a bunch of yogis and gurus and like super cool people who do meditation, energy work, mindfulness, all of the powerful tools that are out there for us. And when I came back from that trip and it was like, oh, I need to make money again now, and I'm trying to get a job and I'm struggling to find something that I like, and I'm refusing to just work at McDonald's to make ends meet and pay my bills. And I got this job that I still was pretty darn miserable at, and I was really depressed every single day, crying to and from work, feeling like I was wasting my potential, sitting behind a computer screen, waiting for people to come into the store, and I had like 3 customers in an 8-hour period. Coworkers would come in to chat with me and they'd be like, oh yeah, when I used to work here, I'd just like stare and zone out at the wall and try to meditate. And I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do for 8 hours? I don't care if I'm getting paid. Like, it was minimum wage anyway, so it wasn't like I was getting paid much, but I was like, I don't even want the minimum wage. Like, I don't want to be standing here doing this. This is so unfulfilling. And it was through that depression and anxiety and just like horrible feeling every day. I lasted there for a month before I was like, you know what? I've got to do my own thing. And I have so much knowledge, so much insight. I've done all this training and studying. I am going to work for myself and be my own boss. I don't care what people think. I don't care what I look like or how they judge me or any of these things. This is what I need to do. When you start living in alignment with your true self, you immediately start to feel relief from your anxiety or your depression or whatever's going on in your life. But what does the system teach us to do in order to fix that? The system teaches us to go on prescription drugs. And they say, oh, just take something for that. Oh, you're anxious? Just take something. Oh, you're feeling really depressed? Here, let me just write this paper for you so you can go take that. Why are we not looking at the root cause? Why are we not saying, well, why are you anxious? Oh, you're anxious because you have all this pressure from your family to be a certain way? Or you're anxious because you've been people pleasing for your whole life and you're tired of it? Or you're depressed because you hate your job and you really are passionate about this, but instead you're spending all your time on that? Why aren't we looking at the actual problem? There's a reason why. And in the Eastern world, they solve this stuff. This is why I was so drawn to Eastern medicine and Eastern teachings, because they actually look at fixing the root cause and teaching you to heal yourself. You can heal your life. Check out this video up here to watch me talking about that more and sharing 2 different really powerful ways that I preach this, I talk it changed my life in that video. But in the Western world, we are consumed and programmed by marketing. So we are taught that the fix is to go to Big Pharma and take a prescription drug that's going to be the magic pill to solve our problems. But you know what? Those pills have so many side effects, and I can't even mention the number of clients of mine who were on antidepressants or anxiety or depression medication and then ended up with more symptoms. And you think about the commercials on TV where they're like, oh, you can't sleep at night? Take this pill. And then just be careful because you might get all of these other side effects too. But don't worry, because if you get one of those side effects, you could take this pill. And so now you take 2 pills to get through everything. But that pill might have some side effects. But then you could take this one. And it's literally a chain of pills because Big Pharma is a ridiculously evil corporation that is literally just here to make money. They do not care about you. They do not care about your health. They do not. They do not care about your well-being. They care about money in the bank. They care about pushing things that they think they can market, or they know they can market, and they know they can sell to people. They do not actually care about if it solves the problem. In fact, if it actually solved the problem, they'd be out of a lot of money because you wouldn't be buying more of it. If you weren't on anxiety or depression or any kind of medication, they wouldn't be getting this recurring revenue from you. So they don't actually want to solve the problem. They just want to temporarily mask it a little bit so that you maybe feel better enough that you're going to continue to use it, but you're not actually going to do the work that you need to do. So if you want to know the real solution and the real tools, make sure you check out my free mindset training down below. Totally free. It's 45 minutes. It will change your life. And even if you just watch that and pay attention to the things I'm sharing and apply them, you'll get incredible results. And I've got so many amazing emails from people who have literally just watched that training and they're like, oh my God, everything is changing in my life. And I'm seeing where all my beliefs are coming from, where my anxiety was coming from, why I felt so much pressure every day. So check that out, okay? But Big Pharma does not have our best interests at heart. This is why the Eastern teachings are so powerful, because they're teaching you to become your own healer. They're teaching you how to uncover this. This is why I'm passionate about what I do, because I want to help you heal yourself, because you have that power within you. You're just not taught that. You're taught to look externally for other things so that you can pay your money and trade your money for someone else to profit off of it. And whether you actually benefit and grow and get better or not, they really don't care because they've got your money. And they just get to continue making more drugs or more pills or something that they think is going to fix here, and they keep you trapped. Now, how many... It's crazy. If you look at the how many anxiety and antidepressants there are out there that actually Anxiety is a side effect of. So you're taking an anxiety medication to help your anxiety, but it literally can cause more anxiety. It can cause depression. It can cause more mindset problems and like fogginess and disassociation and all these other problems. So then you're gonna have to need to take something else from them. And so many people, we look at the problems going on in America, maybe not right now this second, I don't know because I don't follow the news for a reason I'll get into next, but with the gun control and the number of mass shootings and things that are going on that are not healthy. Now, so many of the people who have been those shooters have actually, it has been traced back that they've been on anxiety or antidepressants and they've had negative side effects from it, but they've continued to be prescribed it or they've been continuing to take it for their anxiety. Yet, like, if they could have just had a real solution and uncovered what was causing the anxiety or the depression in the first place, not only would they not have had to take those pills, but they wouldn't have ended up doing the things that they did and acting out in a way that totally was out of their genuine character. People are not evil, but certain things can make them become evil, whether that's trauma and unresolved pain, or whether that's substances that create chemical imbalances in the brain and cause more problems. People themselves are not evil, though. So enough about that. I hate Big Pharma. Okay, they're just pushing stuff that they know isn't actually solving the real problem, and it can cause serious damage. My brother passed away because he had an allergic reaction to a prescription drug. He shouldn't have had the prescription drug, but the amount he had in his system was absolutely minuscule, and yet his body reacted. And so many of us, actually, our bodies are not meant for these chemicals. Your body can produce all of the chemicals it needs, all of the healing that it needs, all of the hormones that it needs. So it can naturally do that when it's in the best environment. But if we look at that, and this brings us up to here, fast foods, marketing, and health issues. The number of health issues, obesity, diabetes, all of these different things that are going on in the world, and yet what do you see being promoted on TV all the time? Fast food, like junk food, sugar, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, these things that are not good for you. We know it is not good for you. We know that a massive amount of processed sugar is not meant for the body. It's a manufactured, man-made thing that we don't need. We can get our sugars from natural products like fruits, and it's actually breaking down in the body the proper way. So we're getting pitched all these things that create more health issues. And you know why? Because then it goes back to the magic pills, and it goes back to Big Pharma, and it goes back to, oh, you're gonna have to pay for medical treatment, you're gonna have to pay for these meds or these different things for us to solve your problem for you. But if you didn't eat those foods in the first place, you wouldn't have the problems. If you didn't, I used to live off of sugar and processed foods and meat and dairy and eggs and basically just junk food, because that's what I craved. That's what I was brainwashed. That's what we see on TV. We think it's okay. We see in our food guides that only recently did the Canada Food Guide change to be more predominantly plant-based. How many years have we been told that processed foods and meats and animal products are actually like healthier for us, when in fact they're not? But we're told this because then it keeps us stuck in the trap and in the cycle where now we have more health issues, so we have to go pay more to Big Pharma to stay in that cycle. You can heal your body. When I went on a juice cleanse years back because I had chronic pain, chronic fatigue, horrible digestion, horrible acne, my brain was so foggy all the time, I couldn't think straight, I couldn't remember anything, and I felt like I was going through the motions. It was caused by my diet. When I started eating vegetables and having green juices and green smoothies, literally within days I felt immediately better. Chronic pain was starting to get better. My fatigue and energy levels had totally shifted. everything changed by what I was putting in my body, because that's what our cells make energy from, and that's what they live off of. If you're feeding your cells good things, your body can thrive. If you're feeding your cells horrible things, processed things, sugary things, junk food things, your cells can't survive. Your cells can't thrive. They're literally just trying to survive. And thus you get a manifestation of health problems because your body isn't operating at its optimal potential. So that gets tied into big pharma. Now, let's finish this off with the media, the news, and the advertising, which is really the biggie, because if we look at advertising years ago, when cigarettes came out, the cigarette companies literally just found an amazing marketer and said, hey, help us market this product. It didn't matter that they knew it was bad. Didn't matter that other people knew that it wasn't the best thing for you. They pitched it and sold it like it was this thing that it's great for you and everybody does it and it's normal and blah blah blah. They used amazing marketing to sell us on a product that caused cancer, caused so many different problems, and was just like not good for human beings. What do they do now? Marketing for food. Like I said before, junk food, fast food. You can't even watch commercials on the TV without seeing a bunch of different foods that are pushed at you of like, oh, and then you have this craving triggered. So on top of that, we have the marketing of like beauty products and what you should look like. So now you feel even worse about yourself. You have more anxiety, more depression, more comparison. You feel shitty because you watch TV and you see these women who look a certain way or men who look a certain way. You see all these commercials about acne and how acne is so ugly and you need to try this face wash. Like I said, for me, so many of my insecurities came from my skin and constantly being reminded that that was ugly, because all the girls on the TV had like one little pimple here and they were like, oh my gosh, I can't go out of the house because I have this pimple, and like I better use this face wash. And meanwhile I'd look at my skin and I had really, really bad acne. Like, so I'd be like, if they think they're ugly and they can't leave the house, how am I supposed to leave the house? How am I supposed to show up in the world and take up space and feel confident? You can't. And then you spend more money on skincare products that are another magic pill, band-aid solution. Let me try and put this on externally to fix it, or let me buy makeup to cover it up, or let me do this, or let me buy nicer clothes so that maybe people just notice my clothes instead of my face. But you're not solving the root problem, which in my case was eating the foods I was eating. Had I started to eat better, my skin would have cleared up so much sooner, which was one of the amazing things I noticed when I did go sugar-free and vegan and gluten-free and ditched all my processed stuff over 3 years ago. So it makes a difference, but the media doesn't want you to know that. They want to keep you in the cycle of doom. The cycle of their control. And last thing is the news, which is all fear-based. We know that they're trying to keep us trapped. They're trying to keep us in a certain dialogue. They determine what they show us. There are a million positive things going on in the world right now, but you won't hear about really any of them on the news, especially if you're watching American news. And Canadian, we're like very tied, so unfortunately we're influenced too. But in America, only like 6 or 7 companies own every single news station in all of America. So if you look at that and you look at who has control, they have the power of what gets said. So we are not being told the truth. We're not always getting the whole truth. We're getting what they want us to know. And that is the fact of the matter, which is why waking up and thinking for yourselves here we go. Yay. Like, thinking for yourself, getting out of the sheep mentality, looking at the world instead of being like, oh, this is what I'm being told. Oh, Channel 8 News told me that this was happening. It must be true, and now I'm really scared, and those people are bad, or this person said this. Like, Why do you believe it? Just because it's on the TV doesn't mean it's right. Just because you read it in a book at school doesn't mean it's right. It's who is controlling it and who is condensing it and pushing it out at you, because those are the people who have a hidden agenda and they know exactly what they want to tell us to get the results that they want. So please, moral of all of this is to start asking questions. Start looking at things differently. Just because you've seen something doesn't mean it's right. And this is why I talk about awareness all the time, but not only for mindset, but for like life in general and every single part of our system. Do you actually agree with the system that you're living in? Do you actually think that the only way you're good enough is if you work for someone else 9 to 5 and you hate it and you punch the clock and party on the weekends because you need to escape how miserable you are from working all week at a job you hate? Do you think that that's like what you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you think that that's the only way? Because it isn't, but that's what you've been taught to think. Do you think that like you deserve to have anxiety and that it's just normal to be anxious and depressed and to hate your life? Or do you think that maybe there's a problem with the system? Maybe the life I'm living and the box I'm trying to fit into doesn't feel good. Do you think that Big Pharma actually cares about you and that the doctors, and this isn't painting all doctors with a bad brush either, they're doing their job, but they're getting pitched by marketing people. Like marketing comes in and says, oh, we've got a great drug for anxiety. Like when you sell this many, you get this much commission, or like we really want to push this drug right now. So they're doing their job, but it's all tied back into Big Pharma and into the money-making machine. It's not about you as a human being and your personal health and well-being. Do you really think that the stuff you see on the news or on commercials is true? Do you really think that they have your best interests at heart, or are they trying to position themselves and tell a story to fit their narrative so that they can create the outcome or the uproar or the struggle or the fear that keeps you down? And ultimately, all of this is to keep you stuck. This whole system, everything I'm sharing on here, is to keep you stuck. It's to keep you out of alignment and out of your true potential, where you can actually make a difference, where you can actually create, you can actually heal. You have the power to do all these amazing things within you. But all of this is set up to keep you stuck so that you don't see it and you don't believe it. Do you really think that you were put on this earth to follow the herd, to do what someone else wants you to do, to live a life for somebody else and not for yourself? Do you really think that you don't deserve to live a life of freedom and of happiness, whatever that means to you? Do you really feel like your purpose is to be here and be miserable forever? I hope not. I really sincerely hope not. Do you really think that like fast food companies and Coca-Cola and these big corporations, like multi-billion-dollar, probably trillion-dollar corporations, do you really think that they care about your health? Do you really think that they want you to feel good and live long lives? Or do you think they just want to sell a product and make money so that they can go do what they want to do? Like, do you really think that all of your health issues can be solved by a pill? Or do you think that maybe there is something deeper going on here that you can uncover, you can tap into, and you can heal yourself? So I'm gonna end it here before I hit 30 minutes. I was talking as fast as possible. This is all about them keeping control and keeping you in a system that's built around the people who built it. And I will talk about this, like I said at the beginning, I'll talk about this on another video in terms of like oppression and different levels of this inequality and this paradigm that has been created for power. But you are so much more than this. Like, I was gonna write that on here. but as you can tell, there's not really anywhere for me to write it. So you are so much more than this, and you have more power within you than this entire system does. But if you believe in this system, if you feel like this is the only way, if you let the fear hold you down and keep you small and keep you trapped in a life and a mind that you hate, then you won't ever understand how powerful you are. But when you start to step back and you tune in and you think about your true self, your divine potential, the fact that you are an infinite being, you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and you have the power to manifest, you have the power to create, you have the power to heal, you have the power to attract, you have the power to do anything and everything. But that power is a lot weaker when they've got you stuck in this cycle. And it's about time for you to rise up and get out of there. So if you liked this, please hit the thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you do not miss a video. And I will see you on the next video, you guys. Also, in the meantime, make sure you check out some of these videos here, because they are going to chat more about the mindset work to help you really shift and rise above your current circumstance. Thanks so much. I'll see you later.